What's up, y'all? I just found the coolest kayak that exists on Facebook Marketplace, and I just brought it home today. You guys have got to see this. Me and my buddy Logan went in on this together, and we got one of the baddest kayaks that literally exist, especially on Facebook Marketplace. Now, if you're in the market for a family kayak or a fishing kayak, please keep watching this because you have to see this thing. It literally has everything you can imagine and for a great price too. Now, usually family kayak and fishing kayak are never used in the same sentence. That's not something that's actually really out there for sale right now. And I'm gonna show you why this kayak can be both. It is both. It's best of both worlds. You can do extreme fishing and take your family, or do both at the same time. Absolutely crazy. I gotta show you guys everything this thing has. So before we get in the water, we're gonna go ahead and do kind of a deep walkthrough. I'm not gonna go too quick because you really need to see everything that this kayak comes with and what you need to get for it. But this thing is just absolutely loaded from the factory. You get so many different options, so many things that no other kayak comes with from the factory. And then you have, like I'm gonna show you in a moment, so much more potential and options with the setup. It's ridiculous. So right off the bat from the factory, this thing comes set up as a tandem. You can convert it to a one person, or you can convert it to 3 people, which is crazy. I don't think any other kayak on the market right now can say that from the factory you can use this as a single, tandem, or a triple. So we'll go ahead and explain that. So we have the seats right here. These seats are obviously removable, extremely comfortable. You don't get that stupid little plastic seat pads you get in most other kayaks. So this is a metal frame seat. All your adjustments, you have, I think, 6 or 7 different adjustment straps on the back, here, and on the sides. So this can go all the way down. It will also lay flat, and then you can adjust these to fit your back however you need to, depending on how tall you are. This material is extremely thick and sturdy, and it's of course waterproof, and it has a little bit of padding from the factory in there. You can add more if you want to, but extremely comfortable and durable seats. They did not cut any corners with these seats, and they're lightweight. As you can see, I can pick it up easily with one hand, toss it around. You have 2 of those, obviously very similar, but one of the craziest things about these seats right off the bat is that this one is actually a little bit shorter than this one. So you have kind of a high-rise seat in the back from the factory. You don't have to pay anything extra for that, and I'll see if I can show you what that does. So when you're sitting in this seat, your head's gonna be about right here, and you have line of sight over the person sitting in front of you without any modifications to the seat at all. It just sits in there a little bit higher, so you have line of sight over them, so you're not staring right into the back of somebody's head right here, whoever's in the back. Now, the second coolest thing about this seat setup here is this seat, not that one, the middle seat. Pick it up and flip it around. Now, obviously, if you're 2 grown men in this thing, you may not want to have it set up like this. However, think about it this way. You've got your 3-year-old son, which I have. He's taking a nap right now. And you want to take him out on a nice day of fishing in a safe, long, heavy kayak. Plenty of room for a 6-foot man here and a 3-year-old here. So now you guys are facing each other. I can help my son with whatever he needs while he's fishing, and we can be this close to each other, help each other out, so he's not facing the other direction and I have to crawl over and help him and you know, all that stuff. So that just makes it 10 times easier to bring kids along, or maybe someone that needs more help and assistance. Obviously, in the back, you're going to be paddling, and then you're going to have a passenger here, most likely a child. So moving on to the third configuration for the seats, I believe you remove this one, and then the rear seat moves forward to here. So now you have a massive single seat kayak, extremely stable. Plenty of room for a ridiculous amount of gear, front and back. We'll talk about that in a second also. And these foot track systems, super smooth and easy to use. They move over to the second set of tracks. So if you're in this configuration, you still have the fancy footrests for the single seat setup. When you're in the tandem setup, these are only available to the rear seat paddler. The front paddler has molded footrest in the bow of the boat, which I've heard so far pretty comfortable. even for someone that's like myself, 6'3" and 200 plus pounds. So now that we're done talking about the seat configurations, I'm gonna go ahead and take them all out. Those are very nice seats, and I could probably talk more about that. And we're actually gonna put some padding in those, so gonna make them even better. But you've seen the seats, you get that. Just check out what you get from the factory, and I'll explain what that is. Just the entire hull of the boat, which I believe is 13 feet, maybe a little bit longer, but 13 feet, I believe, is what they advertise it as. And then this one has had your rail systems added, which you have a rail here, both sides in the front, rail in the middle, a long one, both sides, and in the rear, another set of rails. So total of 6 individual rails to add rod holders, any kind of paddle holder you can imagine, obviously GoPro mounts, and we're going to figure out what else actually in a minute, because we still have to buy stuff for these rail systems. We have not done that yet, but that's just an endless amount of possibility you have for these rail systems. So many different things you can add, including just as many rod holders as you can possibly fit on this thing, which is probably what we'll end up doing. Now, this boat does not come with the sea deck from the factory unless you special order it that way. This one I believe was special ordered that way. So this color is, let me get in the sun so you guys can see it better. This color right here, I believe, is unavailable or discontinued. It's have to look exactly what kind of green it is. It's not blue. It's like a sea foam green color, super light green with red accents, and the like saddle color sea deck with black accents. Extremely nice. This sea deck is awesome. We've already done some standing tests and walking around tests in it. It doesn't slip whatsoever. And I think that without the sea deck, it would be a lot harder to use the kayak in general. This makes it just 10 times better and easier. It's just a perfect flooring for this, especially when it's wet. You don't have any slippery surfaces, and it's padded and everything like that. So that's amazing. It does come branded the Crew, which is the Crescent Crew model that it is. And then one crazy thing about this boat that I don't know if any other kayaks can say this, but this comes with secured cup holders for both tandem passengers. So you have 2 in the front, even has sea deck in the cup holder, which is crazy. And then back here, you have 2 more. Those can hold massive cups, or whatever you want to put in there basically, but we've used it for cup holders already, and that is amazing to have, because you're not just throwing stuff around or have a water bottle rolling around in your kayak or whatever. So just them thinking of that alone is pretty crazy, because these are very nice molded cup holders. And another storage option you'll see, we have these little side holders right here, which I don't even know if they actually have a name for this, on both sides in the middle of the kayak. And you can put like your phone, your sunglasses, whatever you have on you. But for this example, we got some packaged tackle and then some pliers. And that's basically what that's for, so you don't have to set it in between your feet or anything like that. Now, I've already tested that out, but I don't really trust my phone right there, because if it falls in the water, it's not going to float. So we'll see what the future holds with those. Moving on back to the stern of the boat, this is where it really gets interesting. You can see underneath how it's molded, so you don't need any sort of fins or anything underneath. It has, I don't know what you call that, but it's molded perfectly to stay straight up and stable in the water. And then this back here is a mount for a motor, which is awesome. You have your drain plug right here, and then this right here is ready for a troller motor, or basically any type of power that you want to put on this kayak, which is insane. Most kayaks from the factory are going to come with your ugly V-shape, I'll put one on screen, but pointless and useless rear end, whereas this is already flattened out, ready to mount a troller motor on, and then you can put a battery right here. So this space with a seat deck and everything is perfect, because you have space that goes towards the seat right here. You got your scupper here for drains, and then this holds anything in place, like a cooler. The other day I had my film equipment, my shoes, a Bluetooth speaker, and a bucket back here. So much room back here that's actually useful and not useless. Like a lot of kayaks just have some random V-shape stern with nothing here that you can actually use. Coming back around to the front, of course, you have really nice, super tough handles all the way around the boat, but one good one up front. And then you have a really big, I think they call it a bulbous bow, which I don't know why they call it bulbous, but I mean, it's not super big, but it's big enough to handle waves, obviously, choppy water, anything like that, which is another thing that makes this boat extremely stable. They say you can stand on one side of this 200 pounds right here on the side in the water and it won't flip. It'll just lean over slightly. And we will be testing that out in the next video. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cover a few more things before we get it on the water. But walking down this side of the boat again, we have this. Someone please comment what this is. We've already used it to tie on an anchor, which is not what it's for, but someone tell me what that thing is. Don't know. Really nice branding all across, and these don't appear to be stickers. I think that's paint, not stickers. It looks like paint, which is very nice. So that's not gonna peel off on you or anything like that all the way around the boat. And then these straps right here are for wrapping around the seats. So in the event that you flip or are in some rough water or something, the seats aren't shifting around or falling out of the boat. And you have those for every position, tandem, single, and then obviously for your front one as well for the tandem. As far as I know, the stats on these things, it holds up to 600 pounds. So that's 2 or 3 people and gear. And then we have tested it out with the 2 paddles that we got with it. It is extremely fast with 2 adults paddling. This thing is streamlined and very, very fast just with paddles. But we noticed right away paddling and fishing at the same time wasn't great. And we didn't want the pedal kayak. That's why we obviously got the paddle version. Now that troller motor mount on the rear is gonna come in handy right away, because first time we took it out with paddles, we're like, okay, we're getting a troller motor right now. I think it's gonna be even faster and way better with a troller motor. So we're gonna go ahead and mount one right there to the back. We'll obviously keep the paddles on board still if we need to use them, but I feel like that's just gonna make everything so much easier, and literally we're gonna have such a luxurious kayak for multiple people. Now you can pick this thing up brand new from the factory website, crescentkayaks.com. You can get it for, I believe, $1,200 without the sea deck. And what else does it not come with? The rails. You're not gonna get rails, and you're not gonna get sea deck, and you're not gonna get paddles if you get this from the website. So you've got to buy all that stuff separately, and luckily this one was used on Facebook Marketplace. So we got all that together without having to buy it separately. So we have sea deck, rails, 2 paddles, and wheels for a kayak cart, which is right there. I don't even know how to use the kayak cart yet. We've been carrying it. It's only 80 pounds with the seats and everything in it, 80 pounds total with no accessories, just the kayak itself. So I went ahead and put the seats back in a tandem position, and I forgot to talk about how they say it can be a 3-person, but when we say 3 people, we're talking about 2 adults and a child. So most likely where you're gonna put a child, if you have 2 adults in here, is gonna be in the middle. So right here between the first position and the rear position, there's so much room. I mean, this right here is, I don't know what to put in there for comparison. Basically, you have like a mile of room between the rear seat and the front seat. So I've already had myself, my legs, obviously. I had my tackle box, a bait bucket, the anchor, all of my stuff, including my drinks, my cell phone, my sunglasses, and a list of other things, a fishing rod, my paddle, all that stuff right here, and I was perfectly comfortable. Now, obviously, I could have used something to hold some of that stuff in place, which we're gonna get, and it absolutely is ready for that. But that's just an insane amount of room to have for a rear passenger in a kayak. We're not even talking about the front passenger right now. So they have plenty of room as well. I would say probably, since the way the bow is shaped, not as much as the rear, because you have such a wide area here for all that stuff. But that is just crazy in itself, that the rear passenger on a kayak has that much room for that much stuff, and you still got a couple feet of room behind you for even more. Plus, you got storage under the seat, which is probably not meant for that, but you can put all sorts of flat stuff under there, small accessories, whatever you need under your seat, like bait knives, scissors, pliers, if you don't have room up here, if this is already full. All right, guys, it's about time to go ahead and put this thing in the water and do some fishing. If you have any questions about this kayak, please drop them in the comments and I'll try to answer for you. And if you're looking at getting one of these for yourself, I would absolutely recommend it. I'm not sponsored by Crescent at all. I had to pay full price for this, and I absolutely love it. Most beautiful, best kayak I've ever seen. And now we have one. So we're gonna go ahead and get it out on the water. But to see us fishing on this kayak, you're gonna have to click right here.